The New York Knicks have received a massive update on their draft and stash prospect Rokas Jokubaitis, as he will be playing in Summer League for the New York Knicks for the first time in a few years, and he may end up coming over to join the rotation in the fall, and we have to break it all down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do, because we have gotten a massive update on Rokas Jokubaitis over the last 24 hours, and let's jump right into it. Now, the Strickland announced that an article from Spain's Diario Sport claims that Rokas Jokubaitis is confirmed to join the Knicks for the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, and it states that Rokas was given the green light from his pro club. Now, with draft and stash, in case you don't know, the deal with it is essentially these players who play overseas, they didn't go to college, they are professionals in Europe or just literally anywhere other than America. Essentially, they can enter their name in the NBA draft if they're 24 years old or below. Now, when they do that, they might still be under contract with that professional team that they are already playing for. So, when that happens, sometimes either the professional team will be like, nope, we're not going to let you walk out on your contract, or the player will decide that they still want to play in Europe for a bit, continue to develop their game, and then go over to the NBA when they feel like they're ready and when their contract has ended with that professional team in Europe. Now, you don't have to ever go over. There's tons of draft and stash prospects who literally never went over to the NBA and decided to just keep playing, and if they wanted to go to the NBA, their rights would still be owned by a team. The Knicks actually own the most draft and stash rights of any team in the NBA right now. It's unclear why, but Brock Aller, their assistant GM to Leon Rose, really likes owning them. One of them the Knicks own is an assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs who's like 35 years old and made a joke about getting a hip replacement recently and said he's ready to go. But no, so that's essentially what draft and stash is. And when the Knicks drafted Rokas Jokubaitis in 2021, he was still under contract in Spain. He played for Barcelona, and Barcelona didn't really want him to leave, and he didn't feel like leaving when he didn't know if he was going to get rotational minutes with the Knicks. And that's been a key thing for Rokas, and we're going to get into that more in a bit. But Rokas decided he didn't want to go over yet, and then obviously with the emergence of Jalen Brunson and then having a backup like Emmanuel Quickley, Rokas wasn't really that interested in going over to play for the Knicks if he was going to sit on their bench or be in their G League, going to random towns in America where you don't even get that NBA lifestyle. You're traveling on a bus, you're sleeping in a motel, because that's what the G League is. It's not the NBA, private jets, five-star hotels. No, that's if you're an NBA player. If you're in the G League, you're on a bus and you're staying in motels. Courtney Lee, former Knick, actually officially signed with the Knicks 8 years ago today. He played in the G League for a bit to rehab an injury and said, oh, yeah, no, it's nothing like the NBA at all. You're on a bus, all that I just said. But basically, we have some more stuff to look at, such as the fact that Rokas is coming over simply because Lithuania got eliminated in the Olympics. This was not supposed to happen. They were very much expected to make the Olympics and get past the qualifiers, but they lost to Puerto Rico 79-68 in the qualifier in San Juan. Rokas played well, though, putting up 16 points in 22 minutes, shot 5 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and had 3 assists. He's a very solid combo guard. I've been a fan of him since I started watching just his highlights once he got drafted by the New York Knicks. And obviously, highlights don't ever tell the full story, but it's still something to be excited to look at. And I know it's hard to see, but Rokas did put up good numbers in these 4 games that he played in the Olympics, putting up nearly 9 points, shooting over 40% from 3. Now, it's not a big sample size, but also pulling down nearly 3 rebounds, getting around 3 assists. Like, there's solid numbers for the Olympics. The Olympics are weird. There's less scoring. It's Euro rules, so it's tougher to score. It's harder to score in Europe because the pace is slower. Luka Doncic has always said it's harder to score because it's more physical. And all this led up to Rokas having, honestly, a very solid 4-game stretch by the advanced numbers. Now, I would like to see Rokas come over, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do in the Summer League. I'm curious about his role. I would be stunned if Tyler Kolek is not the Knicks' starting point guard going into Summer League. Now, Rokas can run the 2, and you can have Pacome Dadier at the 3, and then Kevin McCullough off the bench. Ariel Hakaporti will probably be the starting center. Maybe they'll start McCullough at the small forward and have Pacome play a little bit, and have him play the 4 as kind of a stretch 4 in a way, which I know is really just all power forwards now, but he's more of still a small forward at this stage of the game with how skinny he is and where his body's at with just maturing. But he will be able to play that 3-4 role. I've said it before. I think Pacome, his ceiling is like a Michael Porter Jr., which would be awesome to see. It's a high-risk, high-reward prospect. That's what the Knicks did in the first round, and I like their decision to do that. But something to mention from an overseas reporter is that Rokas was expected to leave Barcelona at the end of the season, and he'll play in Summer League to pursue the NBA dream. But should he stay in Europe, he would be most likely just to sign with Zalgiris Kaunas. I don't know if you heard me try to stumble around not saying that name before realizing I had no way not to. And Ian Begley did mention that the Knicks have virtually no interest in trading Deuce McBride as part of the Mikal Bridges trade. And there's a reason why that matters, and it's the same reason why this could also matter with the Knicks possibly being interested in Walker Kessler. Remember how I said earlier that Rokas only wanted to come over if he knew he was going to get minutes? Deuce McBride, man. He's not getting minutes over Deuce McBride, who came out and was awesome last season once he became their backup point guard. Deuce is on a cheap contract. There's not too much incentive to trade the man. And if you really think about it, I don't know if they're going to be like, all right, Rokas, come over. Get ready for minutes. We just drafted another point guard at 33rd overall. We know we drafted you in the second round 3 years ago. You want to come sit on our bench? Because you're not playing unless someone gets injured. That's the truth to the matter. Rokas is not going to play on this Knicks team. He is not going to get thrown into the rotation. He's never played NBA minutes before. He's not going to get the nod over Deuce. The Knicks love Tyler Kolek. I don't think he'd get minutes over Tyler. Rokas has to be ready that if he's going to come over to the Knicks, he's not going to get minutes. And for that reason, I do not think Rokas Jokubaitis is going to come over to the Knicks. He's got a lot to show in the Summer League. He's fighting an uphill battle at this point. He probably should have come over earlier in his time, but it's tough because going into last season, even though it's hard to believe at this point, Emmanuel Quickley was still the backup point guard. He was still the best sixth man in the NBA, to where it's like, okay, well, I see why Rokas isn't going to come over. How is he going to get minutes? But now Deuce has emerged, and now Kolek is here. There's some point guards on the roster. I don't really see how Rokas is going to win this unless he plays phenomenal basketball in the Summer League. I'm really interested to see what happens. There will definitely be a bit of a battle between Rokas and Tyler Kolek to see who's Deuce's backup, but even so, that's still a third-string point guard who's not really going to get too much minutes this season regardless. Maybe the Knicks will try to dangle Rokas' draft rights so they could trade him for something. Maybe the Jazz, who, as we know, the Knicks have been interested in Walker Kessler, maybe the Jazz like the idea of Rokas because they get a point guard from it, or maybe the Knicks are fine with trading Deuce because they have Kolek and Rokas kind of waiting in the wings here. So you move Deuce, who has pretty much the same contract as Walker Kessler. You throw a first in there. It'd probably be a protected first, but it would be a first. You trade Deuce and a first for Walker Kessler. You get an awesome center to work with. It's not the worst idea. I'm not saying I would do it, but I understand why the Knicks might. Now, I don't think they are. I'll be real. I think they're going to end up trading for Nick Richards if you had to ask me. I don't think the Jazz are really chomping at the bit to move Walker Kessler. I think they more just are open to if they get a deal that's worth it for them. And Danny Ainge is a psychopath, so I don't really see how that happens. But at the end of the day, I would like to see what Rokas can do. And we're going to see in the Summer League. Summer League starts in a few days, guys. We'll definitely be making videos on it. So you guys don't want to miss it. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Knicks Digest, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think down below. Have a great day, guys. Let's kill it this week. Go Knicks.